This time we're talking about the learning and how kids will learn what they need without you wasting a bunch of money on curriculum. One thing I want you to know is that curriculum companies are preying on your fears. Fears that you don't know what to do. They're happy to tell you. Fears that your kids will suffer because of your choice to do something unconventional. They want to be the one to get you back on the path. And remember, they don't care if that path wasn't working for you. They just want you to try harder or buy something new. Sometimes they're preying on a fear you may have about not being creative enough to figure this out, or too tired or too distracted. So they'll give you colorful worksheets and textbooks and promise that your kids will love them. Overall, they want to trade cash for confidence. They don't really want you to think. Just trust them. And if you're really afraid, they know you'll cough up even more cash for this confidence that they promise. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need them. I was no rocket scientist with unending patience and creativity. What I did have was a willingness to learn. And now, luckily, there are so many ways for you to get the information you need. If you fall asleep reading blog posts and PDFs, don't worry, there are podcasts and videos for you. You still personally like checklists and worksheets? We can get those to you too. You don't have to be led by the nose and then force your kids along with you through 12 years of scope and sequence designed by people who don't even know your kid. What unschooling does from a learning standpoint is start with the learner. Start with the interests and then ripple out from there. That way you're never pushing and prodding to get them interested in something that's kind of blah. Because for those of us who have tried that, that is exhausting. And they still don't retain what you were going on and on about. And here's the good news, because I know so many grown unschoolers, I can tell you with 100% confidence that starting with their interests is the best way to go. Yes, there will be gaps, but not unfillable gaps. As soon as they need the information, they can hop online and get it. And truth be told, kids who are run through the ringer of 12 years of school, they have a ton of gaps too. And they may not be as proficient at searching for the resources. They're waiting for someone to teach them. Your kids will have the time and space and opportunity to improve that skill. At the heart of our gap worries, we're thinking that they need to know certain things to be successful. Interestingly, I've seen a lot of parents move the goalposts on themselves and their kids when they're thinking, well, we'll just learn the basics and then they can do what they want. But then the kids become teens and we panic a little and, well, maybe diagramming sentences and a little bit of algebra, but that's it. Fear makes us add on, and then the kid resists or thinks that their interests don't matter as much as the things you've told them really matter. I took a different approach with my own kids. We dove into their interests and worked out from there. The school way, the way that most of us are familiar with, wants us to focus on keeping them interested somehow in things that don't really interest them now, because maybe someday they'll need it. Research and our own experience shows that we don't retain those things very well. So all that effort and time just rolls off. What we do retain are the things that are relevant, things that interest us. That has been proven to be a much better starting place. Then as the kids move around in their interests, they inevitably develop new vocabulary. They read or hear how stories are written. They learn about science topics and historical events and have to make some kind of calculation to figure out the answers to something they're looking for. And when they bump into something unfamiliar, that becomes the catalyst to learn something they didn't know. The true basics, the things they need to go deeper. Think about that. That's what learning the basics is supposed to provide, the scaffolding for those more advanced ideas that we bump into as we move forward. So think about your real life, your day-to-day life, the things that you do, whether you're a delivery person or a waitress, a city worker or a homemaker. What do you need to know? Then, if you're an engineer or a nurse or a lawyer or an architect, you move in that direction because you like diving deeper into these areas. And as older teens, we see kids take community colleges as they transition towards these kinds of higher level educational paths. Another interesting thing, when my daughter took some pre-college credit classes at the community college, she noticed that the classrooms were filled with students who had already spent 12 years in school. They had diplomas. They were no further along academically than she was. And she had spent her teen years doing community theater and voice lessons and dance classes. She wrote some fan fiction, understood the math involved with working at Barnes & Noble, doing her taxes, budgeting, and buying what she needed. We traveled and explored various places and their historical and cultural impacts, but no curriculum, no times table memorization, no research papers. She did fine in those classes, using them as a transition from a play-based life to college classes and a degree. And those classmates who had jumped through all those 12 years of school hoops were in exactly the same place she was, only they hadn't had the same kind of childhood she had had. My son filled his teenage years with travel and work and community service projects and World of Warcraft, among other games, but notably no academic pursuits before college. He ended up with a degree in journalism, magna cum laude even, and an MBA. My youngest skipped all the higher academia, became a hairstylist, and now owns a successful salon where people work for her. She runs payroll, pays mortgages, keeps inventories, and she didn't need 12 years of school to do that. My kids are not unique. Thousands of unschooled kids are enjoying this same path, and yours can too. I have resources at the website to help you wrap your brain around all this, because certainly we were conditioned to believe that everyone needs that same 12 years of starting, whether it's in school or traditional homeschooling setting, and that's not even the truth. The PDF I have for you with this video is to help you see that real life offers what you need. You just have to notice it. I have some pages to give you examples of subjects weaving through. It's just the tip of the iceberg. You can dive deeper with the Everything Counts ebook or the Deschooling Guide, and these will help you see that you don't have to duplicate school for the kids to learn what they're going to need. I did a webinar on this recently, so I'll put a few links to additional videos for you to watch, and these will help you develop your confidence. And after you've created a little space between what you used to believe about learning and where you are now, I have a tool to help you brainstorm with the kids about their interests. They may not even know what to tell you when you ask them, "What do you want to do?" Not only do they have less life experience, but they have been told to squash down their own curiosities to fulfill the requirements of the adults around them. Think of it as a tiny fire that just needs a little more kindling and a little protection from the wind. As you continue to expose them to interesting things in your home, your community, the world, learning will occur naturally. I've added a page where you can write some things down, or you can get that unschooling guide to really brainstorm with the kids about what else is out there. I have ideas in that for everyone to explore at home and out in the community. Solo activities, things that would be fun to do with the family. Get those wheels turning. If you need a little help getting the kids to see some of the things that they could be opting for, grab the unschooling guide about brainstorming. It's more in depth, giving you some ideas to help the conversation go smoothly, as well as suggestions for 20 different categories that might be fun to explore. Remember, you're going to think like a tourist. And come back for the third video, probably the most important one of all. I'm going to show you how to overcome all that fear that you're carrying around with you.